Welcome to the Rec Center and Metro West Boys Hockey. It's Thursday, January 25th, oh, excuse me, 29th, I forgot. I spaced out for a second. I'm John Fromm, along with my partner John Basil. We're going to bring you tonight's game live here on Park 16. Bays, good to be back in the saddle with you. Two Johns are bringing you the game tonight.
Yeah, Frommer, it's wonderful to be back in the booth with you. I enjoy it every time I do it with you. It should be a fun game. You know, you look at the Spartans coming in at 2-18. They're struggling a little bit. The Orioles have had more success at 5-10-3. But this should be a game that the Orioles should be able to take in the home rink and take it to they certainly played earlier in the year, and the Orioles got the best of them. But that's why you play the games. You just never know. But it should be an exciting game, and certainly a couple programs that are in the rebuilding mold, and the Spartans struggling a little more than the Orioles this year, and the Orioles are making some strides, and we'll see how this game goes.
Absolutely, and it's good to be back with John. Of course, John, longtime active with the City Council as well as the Discover St. Louis Park program. We're real happy to have him here. This is really a storied matchup. A lot of people that aren't familiar with the history of Richfield High School, Richfield and St. Louis Park, as you know, were in the Lake South together in the 70s and 80s. The Spartans have fallen on some hard times. But there you go. We've got a couple of the young, it looks like squirts maybe out there to help with the starting lineups for Park. For Richfield, I should announce, first of all, they come into the game with a record of 2-18. They're starting the sophomore Zach Tormone in net. They've got a sophomore and an 8th grader as their two varsity goalies. Unfortunately, they don't have a JV this year. And Zach has really been battle-tested a lot. Coach was saying, as you take a look at a young man who's getting a second start of the year, there's Benny Burke, the senior goaltender for St. Louis Park. Good to see him getting a home start too, John.
Yeah, it's great to see Benny start at home. He's been with the program a long time. Comes from a family of goaltenders. He's shadowed right now by Riley Dvorak and, of course, Brody Ilstrop, both who got their hair done before the game. You can see the featherness. They're looking good out there.
I'm just not used to looking at so much hair when I'm looking in there. They are a good-looking crew, and there you see that first unit. It looks like with Rebello, Hopman, and Newdecker out there.
And Teddy's the only one with the short haircut. The rest of them have really got it feathered, and probably were at I don't know, what do they call that? The blow dry bar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stick with us here on 16. Call a friend as we're going to step away momentarily for the anthem. But stay with us for Metro West Conference Hockey. A nice rendition of our nation's national anthem by the new acoustics here at the Rec Center. Good improvements, we should say. The youth hockey program, I believe, donated a couple $100,000 to the council, and that was one of the big purchases.
Yeah, and I think that they actually, this was in addition to that, they helped out with the sound system, which is always nice, and of course the youth get a lot of use out of it, so it's nice to see a great continued partnership with the youth program and the city and this Rec Center, and it really makes a difference. And of course the community loves this Rec Center. I was just in the lobby the other day, and there was a parent from another community here, and they're saying they just love when they have games here. How nice it is in the lobby, how nice these rinks are for viewing and sitting. It's really a beautiful complex, and one that's convenient to get to all over the Twin Cities. So.
And as you know, too, just in adding the second rink 17, 18 years ago, because you have the warm area too. A lot of parents don't always want to be inside in the cold area, and they can watch from the side.
Exactly.
Well, there you take a look. I am John. This is John Basil as well. We're happy to join you here tonight on Thursday for the Spartans of Richfield. With an enrollment of 897, you're going to see their best player in Bailey Olson taking the draw there, number 23. He's on his wings. He's got Maxwell Kruger, number 3, and Brady Seystedt. After the draw, Orioles win possession early, and a nice dump down there by Hopman is going to gain possession for Park. Stolen behind the Spartan net, out to Rebello out front. Whoa, Lexi throws it deep, and let's see if the Orioles can cycle it to the point here. Out to Dvorak, wrist shot thrown on net. Nice little redirect, it looked like Bauer there.
Yeah, just went wide. But a nice play, and a way to keep it low by Dvorak, and nice tip by Bauer.
Good pressure again for this Oriole first unit as these first lines match up. Nice moves by Rebello, goes to the wrist shot high on net. We should mention last time these teams played, Rebello and Neudecker both tallied hat tricks last week for Park in the 14-2 win over Richfield.
Yeah.
So
they'll be hungry again tonight. And the one thing the Orioles have to be careful of, they're getting nice sustained pressure right now, is to put that game out of their mind. Because, you know, in the game of hockey, everybody knows they talk about games that just should be won by better teams on talent and depth, but anything can happen. So they got to come out and forget about that game and take it to Richfield right away, which they're doing right now. They've got nice sustained pressure, but they got to make sure that they put some in and take control of this game, and then keep control the entire game to put another W up.
Good call, John. And the Orioles were able to make a change there on the fly, and Riley Esperson shot that in on Tormone, who made the save. Orioles bring their second unit out, obviously, as the Spartans do as well here. Breakout for Richfield as they cross-rink it here. Take a look at the Spartans, as I believe that's number 8 for them. Joe Richards, one of their captains, going to shoot it down and try to pursue in the corner. A couple of Spartans forechecking near the Oriole net here, and St. Louis Park going to break it out with Will Gleason here. Cross-rink pass to Anderson goes behind him as the Orioles make a partial change, but nicely done is Casey Plender, who is erased on a beautiful check, though, by Brandon Clay, the winger. Really took him out nicely.
Yeah, it was a very clean and good check that separated Casey from the puck.
Absolutely, and Casey's got some size to him.
Yeah, he's a tough player, one of the bigger hitters on the Orioles.
Orioles, looks like they're going to, it's nice to see, too, that you got Adam Belzer out there, number 11, who's paid his dues in the youth program, getting some good ice time today.
Absolutely.
I know his dad, Joe Belzer, longtime, Park person himself, so happy to see Adam out there. Looks like you got TJ Rempher out there centering here, and the Spartans are going to bring their, mostly play 2 lines here today as they come back with the Krieger, Olsen, Seystedt line. St. Louis Park with their 3rd unit out here in pursuit. The Orioles send 2 wingers deep, including Kneisel. Puck is going to be swept out to center ice where the Orioles regroup. Cross-ring passes. The Orioles hit the red line and dump it in. A little dump and chase there as Ilstrup helps. Kneisel's going to wheel to the bench. Spartans with Crone out there defensively, and this is Krieger here. Maxwell Krieger, slips and falls as he shoots it down. I thought momentarily we were going to have ice, but they waved it off. Here's Seystedt on the forecheck for the Spartans, trying to harass Dvorak in the corner there. Rebello and Neudecker playing catch, little tag play. Here's Neudecker with speed up the short wall. Bauer Neudecker got some help out front, cross rink to Hopman, and he tried to get that stick down. I believe he did.
Yeah.
To the redirect, went a little high, but nicely done.
Yeah, it was a nice play. I think Bauer just, here the replay, you see Bauer streak down the side. He knows he's there, throws it over. Teddy just a little tight on the net, and the pass a little tight, so not a lot, kind of handcuffed in there. But the right play, very nice hockey play.
Absolutely. After the faceoff win, puck goes into the Orioles zone where they're going to have to regroup at their own blue line. Little 2-on-2 situation here. Neudecker with Hopman as they gain the line. He's got Ulmer defending him. Ulmer, unfortunately, not able to make the clean cross play, and St. Louis Park gets on the board early at the 14:04 mark.
And that was Neudecker across to Hopman, and exactly what we were talking about. On the rebound, Teddy was back just in the right position, so when that rebound kicked out, he was able to scoop it and put it over the goaltender. There's the shot, there's the rebound, beats the defenseman.
It was, and I don't know if Teddy plays a lot of golf. I assume he does. That was a little, wedge shot there, went right in on the redirect. And you see Teddy, one of the captains this year for St. Louis Park. Of course, his mom, Bridget, works in the athletic office. After the break, first line for Richfield with Krieger and Olsen out there. Olsen 23 on the forecheck with Seystedt. Unable to gain the puck momentarily are the Spartans as it hits center ice. St. Louis Park going to break it in offensively as Nicky Owens throws that shot towards the net. It hits off Crone and goes behind the net. St. Louis Park with Owens with a nice stop and go move, throws it out front. Unfortunately, couldn't get it clean to Micah Anderson, but the Orioles are going to steal it away at center ice and bring it back down. Spartans are coached by longtime Richfield player Dave Shute, who played back in the late 80s. In his first year as the head coach at Richfield, he also played 15 years in the minors. And John, I believe he was a 9th-round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins in 1989, played in the Western Hockey League before that. And I know at least as they try to regroup here, at least they've got somebody who can hopefully knows the history of Richfield hockey and can hopefully regroup for them, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what, I know we're going to talk a little bit throughout tonight, but this is a storied matchup. When you talk about Richfield and their program, and I can remember games in St. Louis Park, I mean, you can remember the battles between Park and Edina, Richfield and Edina, throwing Kennedy and Bloomington, and and don't throw Lincoln either back in the day, you know. And so it's nice to see these teams. You know, it's like kind of a long comparison, but you know, you go to the original 6 in the NHL, and you talk about that old Lake Conference with with Richfield and Park and Edina. Oh, there we go.
Here's Kneisel on the follow, and Tormone with a beautiful glove save as he goes right to left there, and that's something you can appreciate.
Yeah, you gotta love a goalie with a quick glove. You know, I never had one. I just waved at the puck as it went by, but you know that.
and look at, as you can see, that's a highlight reel glove save, as that puck was literally almost behind him and he had to reach back to gain an angle on that. So good play for Tormone as that puck went underneath Ulmer's stick and TJ Renfro was able to backdoor it out there. Orioles with 12:10 remaining in the first stanza here. Off the face-off draw, Crone going to hit center ice. John Crone, one of only 2 seniors on the Spartan team, 24 from his right D slot, going to break it in for Richfield, but the Orioles are going to counter here. Little 3-on-2 with Hopman, Neudecker, and Rebello. Hopman goes by Crone in the corner there, passing it to himself, crosses it right out front. Nobody home for the Orioles, and the Spartans will counter 2-on-1 here. Oh, nice opportunity. Krieger had that hit off his skate, and he wasn't able to break through with it, but possible chance there for the Spartans.
Yeah, Riley had stepped up a little bit, and they almost broke one there. You know, the defense from the Orioles are being real aggressive, which they probably should be. You know, they're pinching and they're stepping up in the neutral zone. They do have to be careful not to be beat.
And here's the Orioles with another break, and Nick Owens tries to go coast to coast and try to go with the backhand there. For the Spartans, they're going to regroup on a 2-on-2 here with Owens on the back check. Richfield hits the middle area there, and number 21 for the Spartans, Eric Peterson, with an opportunity. Here's Ilstrup the other way for St. Louis Park. Waits, and then throws it on net. Ilstrup behind the Spartan net, going to wrap it around where Esperson going to hold at the point. Esperson dumps it down low where Ulmer will pursue for the Spartans. Nicholas Ulmer in the corner here has it taken away by some aggressive Oriole forechecking. And nicely done for Ilstrup as the Orioles are going to change 4 of their 5 on the fly here. Spartans with that second unit out there again as the Orioles bring their third unit out with Kneisel and Rempher as well as Belzer out there. Orioles sending 2 down offensively on the forecheck with Belzer staying high. Cross ring out to the point, held in by St. Louis Park. Kneisel trying to get it to Esperson at the point. Stolen away nicely by Richards, and he's going to dump it down as the rest of his line mates change. Joe Richards, number 8, on the pursuit for the Spartans. Spartans going to change back to their first unit. We've only seen 2 lines for Richfield so far. We'll keep an eye on that. Here is TJ Rempher Sr. Nice move. He throws it out front. Backhand opportunity by Belzer.
Never a bad play by TJ Rempher. You throw it in front of the net and good things can happen. And he kind of did it as people were thinking he's going to suck behind the net. Very smart play. Almost buried one. So nice, good play.
And I was happy to see he got his first of the year after all the hard work he's put in over the years defensively. It's not been the easiest transition for him to move to forward. Oh, slap shot out front off a nice one-time attempt by Neudecker. Nice save that time by Tormone. Beautiful opportunity. Here is Saystad as he hits the Oriole blue line. Nicely done by Riley Dvorak, the freshman, as he knocks it off his stick. St. Louis Park at center ice as both teams battle hard for the puck. A nice kick up front as Hopman utilizes some good hand-eye coordination and foot coordination kicking it up there. Neudecker for the Orioles, sweeping in his own zone. Bauer with 20 goals on the season already. He's got Rebello with him. Nice backhand, forehand move. He is erased eventually, but boy, John, he really had a nice angle there.
Yeah, and he made a nice mid-ice move too to open up the ice.
Boy, did he. Here's Rebello. Oh, and Rebello breaks to the middle. Unfortunately, Sieben for the Spartans went towards the wall there and it left everything wide open for Lexi. Yep. Here's Esperson again, goes high off the glass to work it to Rebello. Rebello throws it out front, taken away, but nicely held in by Esperson with the glove. Little backhand pass to Hopman. He tries to throw it out front, but Crone going to take that away and wheel it up the glass. Esperson for the third time with the hold at the point. Riley has it taken and stolen there by Bailey Olson. Bailey, leading scorer for the Spartans, shows that speed that the junior has. And Olson erased her on the near wall, unfortunately, and the Spartans finish their line change. And here's Owens again showing some of that Orioles speed that they have on the forecheck. Nicky Owens kicks it to himself as he still has possession in the Spartan zone. Getting a little help as it's a tight battle down there as he and Seystad were really going hard at it.
You know, as the physical game picks up, which you can see it picking up on both sides, the Orioles have to remember one thing, and that is they have more talent, so they need to stay out of the box, you know, make their hits, make sure they're clean.
Here's Joe Richards, 2-on-1 opportunity. Richards shot and a goal from about 40 feet straight out. I think that might have hit the 5-hole there as he extended his leg, but Richards, one of the captains for the Spartans, the junior, puts his 3rd goal of the season in there for Richfield.
Beats Benny Burke, and I think if we look, it may have been just a nice low shot to the right corner. We'll see if we can catch it on the replay. And
yep.
It may have went right below the pad, but I think it may have beat him over the pad. I think it was a nice, about perfectly placed shot, and that beats Benny on the lower stick side and ties the game up 1-1 here in the first.
Well, that's what Richfield needed, some life after last week's game. It got out of hand early for them. But we'll see if that fires up the Spartans. Remfer on a break out front, chips it out. Ilstrup not able to hold it in as the Spartans pursue here with Seystad. Ulmer behind his own net in a wheel, and Nicholas Ulmer across rink over to Bailey Olson, who throws it, but nobody home at center ice. Kind of threw a blind pass there. And here's Adam Belzer with speed, number 11, cross rink. Oh, beautifully done to Remfer. Unfortunately, TJ wasn't able to convert. Thrown out front to Kneisel. The wrist shot hits a couple Spartans out front, but Orioles going to hold here. Might have had just the opposite effect of firing up the Orioles, too, understandably. Here's Remfer as well. Going to backhand pass it to the freshman, Riley Dvorak. His wrist shot hits Bailey Olson and skims into the corner. Orioles maintain puck control here.
Good recovery by Riley to get over there and hold that zone.
Yeah, really good. And, you know, we've seen a lot of improvement in skills that freshman has. Nice to have him around the program the next 3 years. Here's Neudecker, a little one-on-one situation. Bauer's wrist shot nicely hits off the upper shoulder area. It looked like a Tormone. And thrown out front by Neudecker to Rebello. Rebello with the follow. Oh, and Tormone again. Nice clean save. He's made several nice escapes. And you know, we should mention about the goaltending situation here. Sometimes statistics are so misleading. And both of the Richfield goalies have just under an 80% save percentage. But in looking at the stats, Zach Tormone has faced over 640 shots in 18 games that he's played. So, you know,
that's a lot of action.
Yeah, and a lot of close-in opportunities, just like this one. Oh, and there's a beautiful goal by Neudecker.
Boy, that's a snipe because, you know, he walked really 2 people and he came in and I thought maybe he was going to slide it, but he saw that white netting and just sniped it. Great play. Going to take that shot. You want to finish it, and he did. That's a beautiful play.
And officially, that's goal number 21 for Neudecker off the draw. You see, even if it would have been a rebound there, Rebello was camped on the weak side to wrap it home. See if we can get an assist on that. I'm not sure if Hopman gets the assist off the draw, but I'm assuming he does. St. Louis Park at the 6:30 mark gains an advantage again as they go back up on the Spartans. Cross-rink opportunity for Richfield, going to be rifled wide. And icing finally going to be called. We haven't had too much of that so far, John.
No, surprisingly, there hasn't been a lot of ice. Boy, that's a highlight reel goal by Bauer there. That's a nice to see him. You know, it's not only beating the goalie, it's making the move to get free to the goalie.
Well, he's been full fun to watch for years, of course, and he's only a sophomore, but he was a leading scorer last year as a freshman for Park. And he's got that good Andy Neudecker bloodline that was passed down. I don't know if Andy credits it all on his side of the family with
Michelle.
the genes.
Well, if you look at him, you know, Bauer's smaller like Michelle, and You know, the same facial features, and you know, really, most of his athletic ability comes from his mother for sure.
Right. And yeah, exactly. And you don't credit a lot, but in your family, it's just the opposite, right? It all gets credited to you and not to Sue.
No, definitely my wife's side as well.
There we go. Orioles off the face-off win, maintaining possession as Micah Anderson gets the rebound opportunity off the backhand for Gleason. And here is Ulmer, one of the defenders, Nicholas Ulmer, unable to break the Oriole forecheck pressure. St. Louis Park continuously harassing in the offensive zone. Thrown out front, hits off a Spartan skate. Kicked around out there, and I believe that hit off Caleb Carlson, number 7, and luckily Tormone able to put the glove back on that. And Tom Remfer swings by. We almost saw a goal for your young man just a few minutes ago, and nice setup.
Yeah,
he just got here. He's part of the
nice passes and almost buried one in.
Off the face-off win, Dvorak tries to hold for Park. We can be taken out cleanly for a moment. St. Louis Park gains possession again. Ulmer on the race, tries to hit Remfer. Backhand opportunity by Belzer, goes wide. Backhand passes again by TJ. Not able to materialize anything as the Orioles will spread out in the offensive zone here. Taken away this time by Saystad. He's going to try to find Krieger at center ice here. Taken away 1-on-2 here is Brody Ilstrup going to steal it away and throw a nice wrister on net. Unfortunately for the Orioles, nobody there to help on the rebound situation, but a nice shot, and Brandon Clay was on the defensive side there.
Right, Brody was coming up, and he hit the net after, a little frustrated. I think he knew Brody's certainly capable to get on his horse. He's a big, strong defense person and drive that net on a play like that. But at least got a shot on net.
Good clean face-off win for Hotman. Backhand pass over to Rabello. Rabello break into the front, and a beautiful sequence of moves as he goes right, left, right, pulls it back, and I think gets it right between the legs there.
Well, what Rabello did there, that is, you know, I think that all people watching at home and young players watching this, watch him get the goalie moving. Fakes, now the goalie has to open up, and then now you come back against the grain. Very, very tough for the goaltender to stop. Now, most people would think, God, he had a clear shot. Why didn't he take that shot? Because your percentage is lower. If you've got the room and can move across, get that goaltender to open up, it can result in a very, very nice scoring opportunity, and that's what happened.
And that's Lexi Rabello's 11th of the season for the junior, who's really had a great junior season and really worked hard for St. Louis Park. The new Decker line out there still as St. Louis Park has Nick Caven and some of the other Orioles on defense here. Caven out there with Grant Plender, Casey's brother, on the defensive call here. Here is Caven to shoot it down low here. Nice to see Nicholas getting some work as a senior here too. He's earned some ice time. Hotman going to wheel behind the Oriole net. 4.5 to go in the first stanza. Little stop and go move. Ooh, almost a mistake in the defensive zone. Cross ring pass thrown up to Rabello. Rabello 1-on-2. It's not going to stop him as he moves to the middle. Goes to the wrist shot. We'll see if he circles behind the net, but he pulled it back at the last second. Taken away by the Spartans as they'll break with Jack Briak. Briak around with Olson. Olson behind the St. Louis Park net on the forecheck, able to take it away. Bailey Olson, 23, works into the corner where Anderson has the puck. Nice set of forecheck plays by the Spartans, and here is Olson again. Works middle, number 23. Unfortunately for the Spartans, it does work its way out. Richfield again on the break, and Owen's going to take it in the Oriole zone and try to circle the wagons and work it behind the Park net. St. Louis Park with a nice breakout sequence that time as Plender threw it over to Dvorak, to Gleason, and here's Gleason again, pulls it to the middle, and a beautiful goal by Will Gleason. Wow, was that a beautiful goal. I thought he was going to go backhand high on the short side, and he pulled it back at the last second, and we got to see this goal again.
Yeah, this is a beautiful goal, and again, the same thing. You get the goalie moving east to west, and you're going to open him up, and watch this. He drives against the goal, misses the poke check. Goaltender misses the poke check. He comes across and buries it. That's just a beautiful play.
A lot of right-handed shooters getting on the scoring column for St. Louis Park here.
Well, and that's the other thing, you know, in the Gleason family, I don't, you know, both their daughters play on the girls' team.
Yes, right.
And comes from a very athletic mother. And it's, you know, and you can see it in all three of the kids.
Right, and you know, Dad's real busy in the printing industry, so there has to be some excuse there too.
Right.
St. Louis Park on the break. I was going to say, though, I hope Will doesn't pull those moves too much on his sister, but it'll improve her goaltending. That wrist shot thrown high by the Spartans, as that was an attempt that just wheeled wide from Richards. Kneisel, possible 3-on-2, tries for a drop pass, but it's taken away by Richfield, where Joe Richards, who has the only Spartan goal, going to throw her on net. Little pad save by Benny Burke. Went out long, but the Orioles were able to gain possession at least. Opportunity on a break there as the puck was passed up the glass to Bauer Neudecker, but it was a little offline there. Just 2.5 remaining in the first period. Orioles 4, Spartans 1. Oh, and Riley DeWark gets a stick on it. He almost had an opportunity there, but puck is fanned on as the Spartans attempt to change with Richards here. A little tired from that shift was Joe Richards as he fell to the ice there.
And Riley would have liked to get a hold of that one. It was just a little. Oh, here we go.
Rabello and Hotman. Hotman thrown on net. Rabello with the follow. Boy, nicely done by Tormone to make the initial save. And here's another save as 3 Orioles camped in front of the net. They literally had the Coleman tent out, and they literally they had been talking about what kind of hot dogs they were going to put on the grill.
They were very, very close. And Riley almost had one top of the circles earlier, just couldn't quite get the handle on it. But, you know, he's got a laser of a shot.
Yeah.
He could have got it. He would have rifled that thing in.
And we've seen so much of the craftiness of that first unit, as well as the speed of the wingers for St. Louis Park. But you can never dismiss the qualities that Teddy Hotman brings at his center position to that line as well, and the senior leadership he provides.
Yeah, and I tell you the one thing about Teddy Hotman, everything you were talking about, his presence on the ice, the senior leadership. You know, he really worked hard at strength and conditioning, and it shows because he's become an all-around player. Can play physically, can make the play, can make the pass, can make the shot, can be in the right position, which is nice to see.
Possible 2-on-1 there. As Grant Plender stayed home, the Orioles had averted a possible problem there in their defensive zone. A little over 1:18 remaining as Grant Plender going to work it up to sophomore Micah Anderson. 33, tries the backhand pass, but it's taken away by Seystedt momentarily. But Anderson going to regroup in the Spartan zone and work it down low. Just a minute remaining here in the first period at the rec center. Micah Anderson was looking for some help behind the Spartan net as he wheels to the bench. Richards passes it to himself, but he's not able to break it out. Crone back there for the Spartans along with Bailey Olson. Olson with a dangerous backhand pass to Richards, almost taken away. Richards going to wheel that up the sidewall as well. And Eric Peterson not able to break it out for Richfield. Richard to take away again as the Orioles pursue aggressively on the forecheck. Another steal, and that's Adam Belzer who stole that puck. Belzer 11 on pursuit. He's going to chip it out front here. Kneisel back to Belzer. Belzer with 24 remaining in the stanza. Esperson at the point to Belzer. Adam Belzer. Wrist shot thrown on net. Nice attempt there, and it hits off the stick and goes in the corner. 10 seconds remaining. We'll see if the Orioles can get one more chance here. Splendor with a nice job on the back check. And Orioles just 4 seconds remaining. We'll see if they can get a shot off. Oh, backhand opportunity. Neudecker tried to set up Casey Plunder. There was only a second remaining, but
yeah, and Casey was close. But overall, from a pretty good period for the Orioles. They come out with a team that they know they've had success against, that they're more talented, and they really had to get a lead in the first period.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see them come out and not let up after the last game and take this early lead 4-1 after one. I thought good work ethic, some very nice hockey plays. Certainly give the credit to the Richfield Spartans. They had a couple breaks. They had a couple 2-on-1 opportunities. They had one nice shot from the top of the slot.
Richards. It was a nice shot by Richards,
yes.
And he's a real sniper. I was his 6th of the year. And Richfield really, I was interested to see after the Richards goal knotted it up 2-1.
Right.
The Orioles responded really aggressively. I remember on the next shift, Belzer just right aggressively on the forecheck. And the Orioles, maybe got a little mad. Richfield had some momentum there, but St. Louis Park really dealt with that and neutralized it.
That's a great way to end the momentum, too. When the other team scores, it's so important. If you can come back and get one right away, it really neutralizes that right away. So I thought that was wonderful. I thought overall good period for the Orioles, from the goaltending to the defense to the forwards. Everybody played well.
Good insight, John. And just a quick rehash of want to encourage you to stay with us during this intermission break. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us during this intermission break. We have a series of information and other photos that we're going to share with you on the history of the St. Louis Park and Richfield programs. Just a little insight that we put together with our director, Paul Broden. Before we go to the photos, Paul, just a quick rehash of the scoring. Teddy Hopman, assisted by Bauer Neudecker at 4:04, started the scoring, and Richards unassisted for the Spartans at 6:06, and then the Orioles with the last 3 in the period as Neudecker gets his 21st of the year with an assist to Hopman and Rebello, and then Rebello with a beautiful move, as we talked about, and he curled it into the net, assisted by Teddy Hopman, and then Will Gleason with a beautiful move as well. So 4-1 after 1. As John and I talked about, the history of these two teams in the Lake South Conference, and for years even before that in the actual Lake Conference, is really well documented. Richfield's been a school that's been around since 1927, one of the first schools. St. Louis Park is from the late 1800s, but Richfield historically in the 50s and 60s had great baseball, really improved their hockey enormously, and as John mentioned, in the early 80s, you know, well, really from the mid-70s all the way to early 90s, they had a great program, and they are down on their luck a little bit right now, but Paul's going to put out some information and some photos here that we wanted to share with you about the history of Richfield. You know, a lot of people don't realize, as Paul goes to the photos here, Darby Hendrickson, who's the assistant coach for the Minnesota Wild, who was a Wild player who got the first ever goal in 2000 for the Wild, was Mr. Hockey. As you take a look at Darby, he was Mr. Hockey in 1991 for Richfield. And here's an interesting point about Darby. As you see him, I think he's got a move on Eric Rasmussen there when Ras was with the Kings. That's kind of why I threw that out there.
So you got two, there's the Park.
A couple of Mr. Hockey guys there. Eric Rasmussen, 95 from Park. But
well,
anyway.
I got a comment on that. That's, you know, that's the beautiful part about that is if you're a hockey player, look, it doesn't matter if you love the game and you play and you work at it, whatever program you're at. I think too many people think you have to go private nowadays.
Right.
You look at Backus coming out of up in
Spring Lake
Park,
captain of the
St. Louis Blues. You know, you love this game, you play this game, and you can come out of any program and continue to advance your career.
And as Paul goes to the next photo, just a quick, real short story about the Hendrickson family. Dan Hendrickson, his brother, was also a great player on that first line for Richfield in the late 80s. Darby was, of course, drafted in 1990, coached by Larry Hendrickson, who was a longtime coach at Richfield, then went over to Apple Valley and had great success with them. I read an interesting story about the Hendricks family I wanted to share with a lot of people from the Richfield and Park community that might be interested. A lot of times people think that the kids got to skate year-round and they've got to have formal ice. And I read a story that was written about Darby and his family recently, where Darby was talking about how he and his brother Dan and another sibling would spend 2 to 3 hours a day over at the tennis court that was a block and a half around them, and they built their own net, and they would bring the net over to the tennis court and then take part of the net down because they could rollerblade for hours at a time, even in the early 80s.
Yeah.
They started rollerblading even then, and he really credited that for 6 months of the year because there wasn't a lot of dollars to rent ice and et cetera with a big family that Larry had.
And you know, and I'll add on to that, you know, Larry's family, you know, I ended up after college playing with Danny in the four-man league outside.
Did you really?
Before the pond hockey became big, Edina had the biggest, most competitive four-man league. And me and Danny were on the same team and were fortunate enough to win that old man championship together. Well, then...
And we thought you hung up your skates after Stevens' point.
No, well, I did for goaltending.
For goaltending,
I wasn't very good, so I played forward. So then the following year, Danny left our team, and we didn't know it. Didn't tell us was on another team. We ended up meeting him in the championship. And we beat Danny Hendrickson, and I never have let him down.
Look at that. A traitor. He left base.
Us. But the Hendricksons, what a family from Richfield, and just a wonderful, dedicated family.
And I think, too, for, you know, as Richfield has really fallen on some hard times, as Paul, why don't you throw up the next photo, if you can, in the Richfield, you know, whatever one you want of Steve Kristoff, perhaps, throw a couple of those Kristoff shots up. Oh, here's Damian Rhodes. We're going to talk about him. A lot of fans, Park fans as well, will remember back in the mid-'80s, Damian Rhodes was voted kind of the Frank Brimsick Award winner as the best goalie in Minnesota in '86 when the Spartans went to the state tournament. He had a 9-year career in the NHL as a goalie out of Richfield. And he was also ranked recently as one of the top 45 players at all time by Minnesota Hockey Hub. Just wanted to throw him up. There's a shot of him with the Blues. And then, Paul, if you would, why don't you throw a shot up here as you go back to Darby here, and then he's got a couple other shots. But at, well, there's one of St. Louis Park's Tyler Broderson, somebody we'll talk about who's still playing hockey. Tyler in his 3rd year. But here's the guy from Richfield I want to tell you about, Steve Kristoff, 1980 Olympian, 76 Richfield Spartan. They finished runner-up in the state tournament. I remember as a 10-year-old kid watching that still. It was one of the first, I don't know why, I remember watching that as they switched over. And boy, and you see him in his North Star jersey. Who will ever forget that? You know.
And what a player. And not only for Richfield, but for the North Stars and for the 80 team. I mean, he made a difference whatever team he was on.
Absolutely. And those 3 guys, Bays, I just wanted to say this to any Richfield and Park fans. Those 3 players were all ranked in the top 42, 43 players of all time in the history of the state. They come from Richfield High School, so even though they're only 300 a grade right now, really hope they can continue to have their own program. They have fallen on really hard times. They don't have a JV. They don't have a Bantam program. But I know under Coach Shute, you know, who's 1st year and a former minor league player as well, I think he said that he had 14 different players from Richfield historically that had played either in the NHL or the minors. And of course,
which is storied in a lot of ways. And I do think, you know, they're at a spot where we were a few years ago, and it takes a lot of effort, you know, to go out there and recruit, get additional players, and I think that's where Richfield's at. They certainly got nice facilities.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I think that program can be rebuilt, but it's not going to come with not a lot of effort. You know, we talk about St. Louis Park, where we went away from being merged and we went back on our own and we really focused on recruiting, and friends started to play with friends and get more friends playing. And if you do that, you can have success. And we hope, we look at our numbers being way up, that can feed us. And I hope the same thing happens to Richfield, because I just believe so strongly, and this is such a great game in the winter for kids to play.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to mention this tonight to Park fans. And real quickly, Paul, why don't you throw up just in quick unison? We know about the history of St. Louis Park hockey from all the dozens of games and hundreds we've done. You know, obviously 1995, Eric Rasmussen graduated from Park after being a 4-year regular here, was Mr. Hockey, recruited on a full ride to the U, played a couple years. Eric, as you take a look at him in his Oriole garb, the picture in the upper left is what I wanted to tell you about. Brings up I don't know if you can't quite make it out, but there's Doug Woog on the near side, Eric in the middle, and on the left is Brian Lawton, who was the 83 first overall pick. He was Eric's agent, and I always run into Brian here now because he's his boy Jack is a senior at Benilde, and of course Eric, 7th overall pick in the '96 draft out of Park. That's why his jersey's up there, but he averaged 32, 33 minutes a game, John Barger told me, his senior year. He would go from forward back to defense to forward to the bench. So.
And what a force. I mean, I tell you what, I just enjoyed watching him play, because Ras was a player, when you'd watch him play, was not only had the skill set, but boy, you know, you'd think you're getting that much ice that you wouldn't play physical. He played physical. He played the game as an all-around player, and that's why he did so well all the way up, and so well at the U, and so well at in the NHL.
And of course, 8 years in the NHL with Buffalo, New Jersey, as well as the Kings. And then, if Paulie, why don't you roll through the last couple real quick here? We obviously want to bring up, there's Jeff Passold. Everybody knows Jeff in his Oriole garb. Steve Hahn, of course, had that Hockey in the Park show a few years ago, and Jeff's a proud 75 grad. And he had a great career at St. Cloud State. And then, don't know if we had time to show, there we go. Wanted to throw this up. This is a nice shot recently, John. I don't know if you had heard about this, but you got Josh Schwartz out here with Brad Thompson, David Martinson, BJ Byers, Danny Bissonette. I know I'm missing a couple others here, but anyway, this was a trophy that obviously Josh and Martinson and all played together, you know, down at Gustavus recently, and BJ played, and there's a big trophy they won recently and they were named the Orioles, and I just wanted to throw that up, and hope the guys will enjoy that exposure. They had a great opportunity during the alumni game. That's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to throw that up. Is they had
what
some
a
good
great bunch. You know, I know many of those people that I didn't know them when they were playing here. Watched them play, but I've got to know them as my kids have come through and they circle back through. And the thing I'll say about it, Farmer, is here's a bunch of kids that came through playing St. Louis Park hockey.
Every one of
them. They go
play
on. Many of them played at Gustavus, and just how good of people they are.
Oh.
They're class acts.
And you look at Josh down there who helped Donnie the last 3 years as a goalie coach.
God, my daughters played for him.
Exactly.
I tell you what, You ask my daughters about Josh, and they,
right.
you know, he probably won't want to hear it, but they love him.
And I'll never forget years and years ago when my son Ryan we were thinking about having him come here, and Josh was like, oh, anytime your son, you know, just wants to go out on the ice for a few minutes, just call me and I'll try to arrange it. And
he's
to help. And
wonderful people.
Yeah.
Look at Danny Bissonette and what he's given back, helping with the baseball, helping with hockey. I mean,
and the Hills brothers,
yeah. I mean, and you go to the Boyles, and it's just wonderful to see. So no, that's exciting history there. You know, the other part of the history that I got to mention.
And we didn't have time to throw up the Angie Keesley photos I had of her in her Olympic jersey, but when you come to the rec here, you'll see the number 8. And John, there you go. Why don't you talk a little bit about Angie and the girls program, since
she's worked with the girls for several years now, handled all their captain's practice. Congratulations to Angie. She's expecting.
Oh, is she really?
Expecting her first child.
Oh,
and
wow.
I know she's. It's gone public, so I'm not speaking out as. But she's.
And she's married to another former Oriole hockey player, Lucas Johnson, right?
Yeah, but not Orioles.
Oh.
But he. His father, Mark, is the coach of the women's Badger team.
Former
1980, and so Critter is her husband, and they're expecting their first child. They live in St. Louis Park, very active, and Angie's been instrumental helping on and off with the girls program and really running their captain's practice from a developmental standpoint. Again, nice see a person come back, live in the community, give back. I've also just had an opportunity through different work things to deal with Angie. A nice young person. So when you see these young females and males come through our school system, go on to college, play the game, come back and give back.
Right.
We've got a great community, and sometimes when you hear people, why should I sign up for hockey or why should I play? Some of these stories, and they have lifelong friends.
Well, in the group
it's wonderful.
And John, you know this too, as a former high school athlete, all the years you played up, and then John was a great goaltender for a year with the Badgers, and then he had a great career at UW-Stevens Point, where I
want to use
screamed
the word
out. Your last ever game, I had a chance to cheer against you when I was at River Falls, but. Anyway, but no, you saw the camaraderie that a lot of the kids keep way after you're done playing in high school, as you're judged by all those Orioles. So
yeah, it's wonderful.
And thank you, Paul, for putting those photos together, and we had some others too, but really appreciate it, as he didn't get a break during his intermission here, but shout out to Paul for doing that too.
No, that was wonderful, Paul. It's great talking points. It's great to review that history, and it made me think of two other things, about the Richfield program.
Yeah.
And that is that the Juddings came through in my era.
And Tom Ward, who's the Shattuck coach.
And the Juddings, of course, Mankato, the head coach down at Mankato. I had an opportunity. I was at Point, play against Mankato and play against Juddings down there.
Yeah.
They were playing at that time.
And they were in the same conference
They were at the same conference
with River Falls and Bemidji State.
Yes, they were. And St. Cloud at that time. So what was interesting is
Three Division I schools out of that conference.
We tuned them all up.
You did, Bays.
But the interesting part about that was I played against the Juddings in high school when they were playing for Richfield. And then, of course, in college, you're playing against them in college. And it's just a small hockey community. And then the other thing about Richfield that I've got to mention, and I got to see if I can spot them, but that's one of their assistant coaches is listed as Jake McCoy.
Right.
And if it's
Stuart Parker, also an assistant with them.
Yeah, and it looks like they got two over there. Jake may be up above, but Jake is a guy. If it's the gentleman, unless it's his son, Jake McCoy has been around that Richfield program all the way back when Thomas was the coach back in the 80s.
When Mike Thomas was back in the early 80s.
Jake McCoy was a coach back in the 80s for Richfield, and I maybe he's coming back, or it could be a son as well. So I'm kind of trying to spot that out of curiosity.
Well, thank you, John, for that. Nick Ulmer behind the Richfield net as we get ready to start the second period here. Orioles with pressure early on as Dvorak going to throw a wrist shot that hits off the shin pad, unfortunately, of Bailey Olson and ricochets into the corner. Tic-tac-toe play, and Nudek are going to throw it on net. Nice save as well by Tormone there. The Orioles first unit out there against the Spartan first unit. Rebello fans on that opportunity, and a 3-on-2 opportunity. And here is Krieger, who had an opportunity there. Maxwell Krieger had an angle, looked like, to split the D. Why don't you comment on what you saw there?
Yeah, he certainly did. And kind of a spin around by Riley Dvorak was able to get his stick on the puck. But they were caught a little flat-footed. And the speed of the Richfield player almost caught the Orioles and resulted in a breakaway.
And that first unit for Richfield, Bailey Olson with 16 goals on the season, Krieger with 13. And then Saystad with 4 has accounted for, you know, nearly 80% of the goals for Richfield, and so that was a nice sequence there. Off the faceoff, puck is iced down as Trey Shellberg going to get some ice time as well here for the Spartans. Take a look at Micah Anderson, one of the sophomores for St. Louis Park. Micah on the wing here. Center Nicky Owens wins the draws. The Orioles going to wrap it around the boards and have an opportunity and a possible break here. But a nice hold by Zach Sieben for the Spartans. Park gains possession again. Anderson cross rink. Has it hit off a Spartan skate, but he pursues into the corner where Owens is going to cycle it to Anderson again. Puck banks behind the Richfield net. Sieben not able to get a stick on it. And it's cycled again. Cross rink pass. A nice job by Trey Shellberg, was able to step up and get a hand on that.
Yeah, Gleason was wide open there.
Yeah, he was. And the Orioles with the puck again. They've got a pipe, and unfortunately Will Gleason not able to follow and get a stick on that, as Nick Owens almost put one in there.
The dinner bell was rung, Farmer.
Yes, it sure was. Orioles trying to break again here, but Eric Peterson pursues for the Spartans. And we should mention, too, that the Spartans have two defenders out there that are brothers in Trey Shellberg, number 9, and his brother Tanner, number 14. So they'll see some action on defense together, too. Spartans going to switch their units here. Orioles with a possible break, and Kneisel does a nice job getting a stick on it, but it goes high up and over the plexiglass here.
Yeah, and then, you know, that's the high side of the plexiglass here.
Yeah, that's quite a
So
right?
to get up over that is, that's always been an interesting thing about the St. Louis Park West Arena, is that most rinks are pretty uniform with glass height. We have one end that is where most of the fans normally sit, so it's a little higher glass, which gives the defensive team the opportunity.
TJ Remfer on a breakaway. Remfer wrist shot thrown on net. Nice save by Tormund. Didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, that was
him
a great
and Kneisel
breakaway.
with a nice break off the face-off win at center ice. Here is Grant Plender, whose wrist shot goes high and off the glass here. Nick Caven going to try to hold it in. As the Spartans have 3 bunched up on the near wall here, and it's going to be chipped up and all the way down. As somebody's got a broken pieces. Bailey Olson lost his stick for the Spartans. I don't know if he had it slashed out of his hand, but he looked really disgusted when I looked back at him, 23 there. So hopefully Bailey doesn't have an Oriole player in mind for some revenge.
Oh, yeah, it looks like they called us interference.
So maybe that's what caused the stick to be pulled out of his eye. So TJ Remfer going to get settled with the gate at 14:35 here of the second period. TJ, who had a great break there on that 2-on-1 where he almost scored his second of the year. We'll take a look at the numbers here. It looks like it's going to be Newdecker. Okay, Newdecker, and here's Crone with the puck as Richfield going to play. Looks like they've got Crone out there with Krieger, Saystad, Olson. And the Orioles are going to counter here with Rebello and Newdecker. First line wingers. Here's Ilstrup just circling, skating backwards, going to throw it hard and all the way on net. Crone, the senior blue liner, going to regroup behind his own net. John Crone. Bailey Olson. Bailey, hard upended there as Bailey was upended by Lexi Rebello. Don't know if there was an actual hip that was laid on him. Cross rink again over to Crone. John Crone. Spartans still unable to break the zone 40 seconds into the penalty here. Rebello on the forecheck against Olson. Olson going to steal that puck and get it away here. Bailey Olson, left-handed shooter with some good speed as he hits center ice and the blue line. Olson, little 1-on-2, nice stop move. Throws it to the point where the Spartans are going to redirect here. Spartans, they try to operate here on the wing here, not able to hold it in, but now they do so. Fanned on that attempt was Godfrey. Thrown to the point and Olson unable to hold. And that'll put it down to 45 seconds in the stands as Richfield was able to gain some puck possession. Crone behind his old net being harassed by Teddy Hopman on the forecheck. Crone misses as he tries to cross rink that to Ulmer. Here's Olson again, 1-on-2. Let's see if he breaks it through here. He tried to beat 2 Orioles on the power play, and he beat one of them, but that was all he could do. So tough for the Spartans to get it set up here. I know they're trying to, looks like, use Crone and Olson a lot offensively. But
they had him in the high spot up top, and they were having trouble taking the zone, so then he took it all the way in, but then then you're not really set up the way you designed it.
Yeah, and he's one of, and I have to say this, I think Olson's, along with Crone, are 2 of the Spartans that have the best foot speed that I've seen, so obviously that might be an area where St. Louis Park really has an advantage, I think. Here's a long home run pass thrown down. Oh, but unfortunately, the home run pass to Brandon Clay. And we've got an offside, I think, that was whistled on Clay, I believe.
It was offside.
Wow. I don't know if you have the replay of that,
yeah,
Paul.
We'll
that was a beautiful
carefully.
home run pass that went to Clay.
And you can bring the puck in with control first, but he may have crossed before it actually got on his stick.
That was a great opportunity, and the power play is over now for Richfield, but hopefully Coach Shute feels good about that long sequence, at least for the long home run pass. And that's sometimes what you have to do when you don't have the foot speed the other team has, as you know.
Right.
Sometimes you do have to cherry pick one of those wingers all the way down on the far side.
Absolutely.
See how you can create some space here. Olsen's still out there, and he's kicked out the draw, and Saystad going to take the draw. Orioles with a face-off win, and it looked like Plender's shot hit one of the Spartan players, and here is Olsen, 23.
No lack of ice time for Olsen.
No,
you know,
yeah, him and Saystad and Krieger are out there along with Crone all the time. So, and here is Joe Richards, 8, playing a little defense here. Here's Neudecker, got some space to operate. Wrist shot on the short side. Don't know if that hit the shoulder.
It did, did. And you could see where Bauer was going. There was
there's a redirect on the Blender shot, and Bauer almost gets another one here.
There's
and the
little bit of white.
Yeah, and the really sad part defensively for Richfield in that sequence was that it looked like Clay backed more towards center in front of the goalie and gave Bauer even a little more space to operate. Here's Neudecker again. Has it knocked off his stick momentarily, but Rebello right there to help his friend for the Orioles. Richards backhand opportunity, and Olsen just barely gets a hand on it to chip it down and slowly makes his way to the bench.
Right. Well, that was a fun little sequence for the Orioles, and again, a nice move by their leading scorer Bauer. Almost roofed that, and you could see from my angle there was about a half a plate. There it is. Let's see. It was right after that, I think.
Yeah.
But what a play by Bauer, and the goalie just got his shoulder up there.
Orioles with another face-off win. Caven and Grant Plender out there. Here's Nick Owens operating behind the net. Oh, he throws it out front, and it hits off one of the. I think that hit off Caleb Carlson's skate, and luckily for Richfield, it didn't go any further. Tormone able to cover there. As you see Micah Anderson making some friends in front of the Richfield net. Maybe talking about what they're going to do after the game. I don't know if he has any Richfield friends, but
well, they probably go to Devani's on 66.
There you go. Yes, exactly. That was like a civil war back in the day when Richfield and Edina played, especially on the Richfield side where they always wanted to take you.
Well, you'd share that Southdale shopping area too.
Yes, exactly. The food court battle.
Right.
Here's Micah Anderson. Drop pass to Owens, thrown out front. Hits a Spartan skate. Follow up by, nicely done as Grant Plender throws it on net. And at the 11:01 mark, the Orioles almost add to that 4-1 lead. Here you see Micah, little drop pass. Good follow that time, I believe. I might have my numbers wrong. I thought that was Neudecker who threw that. No, that was Nick Owens, I'm sorry. And then Plender tries to operate. Rempher back at center here. TJ's got to enjoy that center spot. Orioles with another face-off win, but they do have it taken away by the Spartans. Spartans are going to hit center ice here and try to drive it down into the Orioles zone. And indeed, Saystad's able to do that. Little mishandle in the Orioles zone, and Krieger going to pursue on the forecheck. Ooh, and a tight hit on the boards there as Saystad really took a bite out of Riley Dvorak. Here's Rempher again, and a nice dive by Bailey Olsen to just barely knock it off TJ's stick as the Spartans are moving. Yeah, they've moved on occasion. It looks like they're moving some of their forwards back to D to try to maybe shorten the bench, but have their best overall players out there for Richfield. Puck is knocked down at the 10:20 mark. Where Crone going to work it up the near wall here. He chips it towards out, but he's not able to do so. And there's a beautiful, is that a redirect off the Riley Dvorak shot by Kneisel?
Yep, I think Keenan redirected Riley's laser from the point.
That was some shot.
Some shot, and nice tip, and gets the Orioles the first goal of the second period there. Boom, mid. Yeah.
Oh, it hit off the... You know what? I think that hit off the goaltender.
Oh, did it? Okay, yep.
I'm assuming we have. Yeah.
Well, we'll listen for the official announcement. They do give it to Keenan.
They gave it to Keenan. We'll see if Keenan gives up that one, and I don't want to cause any friction. Maybe it hit his stick. I think it did it off the back of the goalie's stick. So we'll let those guys figure it out. So officially, it's credited to Keenan Kneisel on the assist to Riley Dvorak. I think it's probably going to be changed. And Kneisel is going to end up getting the assist, probably, as he shot it to the point. good. Look at this camera work by our full-time staff here. Wow. Beautifully done. And for Tormone, he had a double screen that time, so don't know what he saw, but unfortunately he had his stick at an angle where he wasn't square to the puck there. There he is square to the puck as he drives down and makes a nice save on the shot from the point. Orioles now 5-1 at the 9:40 mark as they still circle the wagons in the zone here. Bauer Neudecker with a 360 back to the point to Plender. Casey going to fake the slap shot, skate backwards, and then throw a hard wrister that goes sky high over the net. Esperson with a pinch for Park as the first unit's still out there. Taken away momentarily by the Spartans as indeed Shellstad and Shellberg out there right now. Hopman, backhand opportunity. Spartans not able to break it again here as they still keep trying to break the zone, but Caleb Carlson out there with Maxwell Kruger not able to do so. And here is Trey Shellberg. Shellberg, oh, taken out hard there by Plender. And here's a break for Park. Nick Owens almost receives the pass, but a nice job defensively by one of the Spartans there, number 10. I believe that was Nicholas Ulmer who stopped a great scoring chance, John.
Yeah, it really was. It was a nice play by Bauer. Beautiful pass,
Yeah.
and Nicky just fed Nicky a little too far out in front, but you like to see that hockey play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-oh.
There's a home run pass. Oh, no. And the Orioles catch a break there as indeed that was Caleb Carlson, the recipient of another home run pass as the Orioles are going to ice the puck here. A beautiful pass all the way down from Nick. I think that was Nicholas Ulmer who hit Carlson at the far
blue, and I think he just lost an edge. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. Yeah, he just loses an edge.
Yeah, I know there were some of the Spartan fans thinking there might have been a penalty there, but didn't look like there was any contact made by the Orioles.
They need to take those skates to the butcher shop and get them sharpened up.
Well, and I know that's one thing the Orioles are trying to work on is during the season this year, John, they've had 222 penalty minutes and their opponents had only had 144. So important as you head towards the playoffs to stay out of the box. Orioles with only one minor so far in the day. So that'll be something Coach Keys is really the discipline that it takes to play aggressive but not make any of those silly penalties. So,
well, power plays and penalty kills are so important, especially when you're playing teams with like talent. You give them the advantage of an extra player and be able to move that puck around. And so certainly as we come down the home stretch here, the Orioles got to play disciplined hockey.
Good point, absolutely. Park still able to hold the puck in. Another shot on net that time. Nick Kamen almost looked like got on the board there, number 30, the senior defenseman. Usually that number 30 reserved for the goaltenders, but it's kind of nice to see it on a defenseman, because they're definitely part of the keeping the pucks out of Benny Burke's net.
Absolutely.
And I bet Benny wishes he had a few more pucks flying his way today for the senior in net for St. Louis Park. Rempher on the draw out there as he'll take it against Olsen. Olsen with a nice clean win for Richfield. Unfortunately for the Spartans, though, taken away on the short side here. And here is Dvorak again. They switch spots as he and Ilstrup do a nice job switching from right and left D to help each other out here. Olsen just going to chip it down here where Ilstrup cross rink might be going to Rempher. Indeed he does. Rempher hits it at the red line, cuts up the middle. TJ Rempher with speed, wrister thrown on net. Nice job by Tormone, able to drop the pads and take the 5-hole away.
That was a nice move by Rempher at center ice to break to the inside, take the lane, and drive down.
Yep, and good vision by Brody Ilstrup, too, to go cross rink and see that relatively quickly as well, too. Olsen has it taken away by Neudecker. Neudecker, plenty of room to operate. Wrist shot, glove save again by Tormone here. Cross rink again. Here's Ilstrup, Brody Ilstrup, wrist shot, thrown on net, and it hits the glove, then the post, and maybe fitting. Mr. Tormone got a break there. Here's Dvorak. Oh, hard slap shot, hits hard off one of the Zach Siebens. Boy, he's a tough player. Here's Rebello again. I'm having a hard time calling the action. It's moving so fast.
Now there's some good cycling by the Orioles here.
Nice.
And they'll finally get a whistle.
Yeah,
I'm surprised after that sequence the Orioles didn't put up number 6 for tonight because boy did they have opportunities and some nice saves by the goalie.
Yeah, Tormone.
Nice glove save on Bauer.
Oh, I'm glad Paul has this. There's the one I wanted him to replay. Good work by our camera crew. Hits off his glove, falls back, hits the post. Yeah, Tormone, as we mentioned, has got 90% of the work as a sophomore, but they definitely really like their 8th grade goalie, the backup goalie, David Fors. you know, he skipped Bantams, obviously. He was in Pee-wees last year, so nice that the Spartans have a good back one. They're going to return 16 of their 18 players, too, so the future's good for next year. Only 2 seniors on this team, so really taking their lumps. Coach Schutz said they graduated 10 last year and over, I think, 85% of their scoring, so 5:45 remaining in the second period here. Park with a 4-on-2 break, and here's Esperson. Drop pass to Neudecker. Oh, wrist shot. Opportunity is stopped momentarily. There was a nice job back checking as Brandon Clay got a stick on Neudecker enough to harass that wrist shot by Bauer.
Right.
Take a look at it here.
And it almost worked out well because Teddy came in. Watch Teddy come in, pick up the garbage, and just goes over the top. Or no, the goalie got a blocker on it. Beautiful save.
Boy, that was nice. Tanner Schellberg also out there for the Spartans. As the Nick Owens line get a matchup against Bailey Olson again. Brandon Clay out there mixing and matching, and Micah tries for this short side stuff play, not able to do so. Works it to Caven at the point. Nicholas's shot goes into the corner where Nick Owens uses that good speed to cycle it down low. He's looking for possibly a wrist shot here, or he had Gleason on the short side. Not able to get him the puck, but Caven gonna hold it in. Owens dancing around with the puck, throws it out front. Puck is knocked onto the short wall here. Whoa, Bailey Olson avoids a tough check opportunity by Nick Owens, who had 23 lined up in his sight lines. Almost like a deer in the headlights, it looked like there. Park still able to hold it in as Casey Plender has it chipped towards the net. Thrown out front again for St. Louis Park, and you can really see the Spartans are just really wearing down a lot as they have such a short bench. I think they're literally only playing 6 forwards and 5D, and a lot of those forwards are seeing, you know, 1.5, 2-minute shifts here. So,
and they have more players, but obviously I think where the coach is at is he wants to put players that are can keep up with the pace at this point as they continue to develop.
And here's a break for Keenan Kanizo with good speed. Wrist shot thrown on net, short side. Don't know if it hit the post or if that actually hit, but it was a nice
shoulder again. Yeah, he's very good. The goaltender is very good about getting his shoulder up.
Yeah.
Gives a little bit of weight and then brings his shoulder up. They've had the best success the Orioles have.
Oh, thrown out front to Renfrew. Tried to redirect, not able to do so. Didn't mean to interrupt you there, John.
No, you're good. You know, they've had the best success when they've got the goalie moving right to left. So when they come in on there, if they can cut across, get him moving, then fire, their percentage has gone way up, and most of the goals have been scored that well. When they're coming down trying to beat him when he's squared up on him, he's made the saves. He's really done a nice job.
And that's great insight on the right to left that you notice. And all his years as a goaltender as well and coaching as well. That's the insight that John Basil can give you when he slaps on the microphone as a color man.
Well, I tell you what, you do recognize, being an old goaltender, you knew those players that came down and they just fooled you. You know, you think they're going to shoot, then they were moving across, you opened up, and then they came back across. And, you know, I can remember guys
like... You stymied guys like Paul Ranheim all the time in practice.
You know,
you could just read his moves left and right, couldn't you?
You know, you got guys like that could just beat you, you know, and you go, how are they beating me, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, great. One of the really nice people that both John and I know, so we've mentioned there. St. Louis Park, 3:15 remaining. Still a 5-1 advantage for Park. Only 1 goal so far in the second period here, even though the Orioles have had a definitive shot advantage and possession advantage. Richfield operating in their own zone again with Cameron McNabb. McNabb, number 5. Checking Neudecker in the corner there. McNabb battling Neudecker again, but Bauer wins the battle. Circles the wagons behind the net. Another 180 as he works it to Robello. Cross rink to Bauer. They love playing that it's almost like a basketball sequence where they can set picks for each other, and then Bauer can use those wheels to run a 180. And
that was a very nice play.
Yeah, and crash the net.
Very creative. You know, hockey's a creative game, and when you see creativity like that, that was wonderful.
It really is fun to watch too, how they, you can obviously tell not only did the Park guys really active in their summer program and all the time they get to work together, but you can tell that the extra work that Lexi and Teddy have, the great improvements they've made as well. And
yeah, absolutely.
So the future's bright in Parkland, and as ventured by how well the Bantam AA team's been doing with John Son Willie playing on it. I know he had a great tournament win up there in Roseau. Here's Nick Owens off the draw, throws it to Gleason, and I think that hits runs up the blocker there and goes behind the net. Park still on the forecheck. Nice poke check there by Tormone as he gets it off Gleason's stick. Spartans really having a tough time just even getting it out of their own zone. Thrown out front here. Here's Splendor. Tries a slap shot. Kind of fans on it. Looks like he thinks he might have had a partial break of his stick. Yeah, you got to do that when you just hit it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the stick. But you know what? It did.
Right. It didn't look like, yeah, I know.
It did look like it flexed weird. And, of course, I'm sure Don and Corey are hoping it doesn't break because that's a $200 stick he's using. So
exactly.
There's got it again. We'll see what happens. Looks solid that time.
What I could never figure out with my son, John, well, Kyle played hockey for a lot of years, too, was I think he broke like 5 or 6 goalie sticks in his last 3-4 years. I was like, how did you break goalie sticks?
Yeah. Well, you know, you use that paddle. It sees a lot of, 100-mile shots coming in on it. It's going to get weak.
It's going to get weak. So Spartans finally able to break the zone here, and Brady Sostad on the forecheck. 16 wheels in the offensive zone as he tries to take Esperson out of the play. We're under a minute here in the second period. Esperson, Kneisel. St. Louis Park breaks it again here. Adam Belzer getting some nice ice time today, playing well. Adam had a great year. I know 2 years ago on the JV team. I remember he led him in scoring 2 years ago. Great speed that he has as well.
And no lack of work ethic.
No, he's just balls to the walls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know his dad, Joe, a successful attorney who's taught that strong Oriole work ethic in him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Joe, if you want, you can send me some money or maybe a free legal consultation at some point.
Right.
If you hear this
here
line.
we go.
Here's Teddy Hopman, gets the pass. He's got a break here, forehand. Oh, thrown on net. And nicely done as Neudecker going to get the rebound and knock it in as he snipes it in off the Teddy Hopman.
Yeah, it almost looked like we'll have to see if he got it out of the air. It looked like almost a half baseball swing, like a bunt to put it in. We'll see what happened here. Let's watch the replay. Teddy takes the shot. Rebound comes off. Here comes Bauer coming in.
Wow, I think
just enough.
Yeah, just enough. Oh, Bauer must do some golfing with his dad Andy too, because he pulled that a couple inches out and hit it down low. So Neudecker going to get his 22nd of the season. Another assist for Teddy Hopman. I believe that's his. I think he's got a goal and 3 assists on the game. And here's Lexi Rebello trying to get on this as he tries to score just before the break. That last goal was at the 16:51 mark. So
9 seconds left in the period.
So only the second goal of the period as it pushes it to 6-1 here after 2. But that's probably the straw that officially might have broken the Camels' back, even though things have been looking tough. So a couple more goals for the Orioles in that second stanza as they work to a 6-1 advantage. We are going to step away during this second intermission. We want to encourage you here to stay on Park 16. Oriole and Spartan fans, if you do want to get a copy of this game, maybe you want to do so by going to ParkTV.org. ParkTV.org. You can call Paul also at that number. He's the director. DVDs, again, $15 and 10 for 3 or more. And special shout out to some of our dignitaries watching this game. I'd like to send a special shout out to Mark Unzi in Chicago, an 83 Park grad who played hockey. I believe a Samantha Rempfer in the Denver area. She's a big University of Denver hockey fan. She loves those Pioneers. I hope you're doing your work, sorority Sam.
And Sam, if you're working hard, why don't you text my daughter Anna and say that her dad says hello, because I know you guys keep in contact when you're both off at college, which is wonderful to see. So I hope you're enjoying this game from Colorado.
There's a young lady who loves athletics and loves hockey and really loves her family. Misses TJ's games, but so glad that even though she's at UD, even though she's Pioneer Heaven, she can watch so many of her brother's games even live.
It's wonderful to see.
Now I hope she doesn't have that volume turned down fully, like I've heard that on occasion she will.
Well, most people do, Farmer, when it's me and you announcing.
We're going to step away here on 16. Come back for the third period here at the Rec Center. Thanks again.
Introducing a breakthrough in time management technology. A whole new day of the week. It's called Someday. ingenious. Perhaps someday you were going to go skydiving. Enter a hot dog eating contest. Maybe ride a mechanical bull. Now, it's on the calendar. You may want to retire someday. Ready for that? You'll really want this. A My Social Security account at socialsecurity.gov. You can estimate your future benefits, plan for your retirement, and how to save for it. If you already receive benefits, you can manage them online. Millions of people already have a My Social Security account. In fact, someone opens one about every 6 seconds. Get yours today, because someday is here at socialsecurity.gov.
Welcome back to the Rec Center and Metro West Conference Hockey. I'm John Fromm, along with my sidekick, John Basil, and the Orioles expanded on their 4-1 lead with 2 second-period goals, John. Don't know what we'll see in store for the third period, but it looks like both teams are going to start with their first units out there. It's been the first line that's really been the story again for St. Louis Park, as officially I have them down for 5 of the 6 goals so far, and Will Gleason with the other.
The other one, yep, and Will Gleason's been good around the net this year as well. The shots, just so you know, I caught just the Orioles.
Oh, right.
The Orioles have put on over 40 shots in 2 periods. Oh, here we go.
Here's a possibility for another one. Nice move by Rebello, goes to the backhand, forehand, thrown on net, and wow, he went. I was just talking to Andy Neudecker about Lexi and, you know, the work ethic, the improvement, and how much he enjoys playing with the crew. So, and right off the faceoff, you see St. Louis Park gaining possession, puck deep in the Richfield zone, but they're going to counter with a break here. Saystad going to wheel it down. Ulmer in pursuit along with Olsen. Dvorak has a couple players on the far side, 3-on-1. Here's Neudecker. Oh, momentarily lost the puck off his stick, but Rebello going to pursue. Rebello breaking hard to the net, throws it between the pads, and Lexi going to add another goal to his total here. Boy, that was an interesting sequence there when Bauer lost the puck subtly. You know, Lexi didn't even flinch, and then he busted right to the net, and the defender kind of.
And I think, and even the goaltender was thinking that he possibly may be going across. You can see an Oreo on the back door here. So watch the goalie, starts leaning a little bit.
5-hole.
5-hole it, yep.
So officially I have that as Lexi's second of the game and 12th of the season, as the first unit continues to make their way up the score column here, and the Orioles push it to a 7-1 stanza.
And that'll turn it to running time, Frommer.
Yep, good
6 goal lead in the third.
7-8 here as breakout as Caleb Carlson gets it to Richards. Carlson behind the net as Richards, who has their own. Whoa, Richards taken out hard on a nice clean check by Plender.
Oh, they called it.
But I guess they're going to call him for
boarding.
Yeah, boarding, I guess.
Yeah, so we'll see what if that's a 2 and a 10, we'll see what he calls here. Maybe, you know, and that's where you get a check where you're using the boards to really finish the check. And let's see.
But he didn't. He made the contact 3 feet out, unless maybe they thought it was an elbow. But
looks like
either
just
way,
a 2-minute.
yeah, I thought it was relatively clean. But you know, he makes the contact there. Well, he hits hard, you know, maybe from behind a little bit too. I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely a questionable one, but one that, and it's a 5-minute.
So 5 minutes. So the referee definitely thought there was some intent to injure, and of course we all know how that all materialized after all the changes after the Jack Jablonski game 3 years ago here. It seems like even more, but it was only 3 years ago. Yeah. So Spartans on the power play again. We'll see if they can operate. Slap shot thrown towards the net. Burke directs it into the corner here. And for the Spartans, you've got Olsen out there along with Saysted. Looks like Ulmer's out there. Termone stops it behind the net, where John Crone going to try to circle the wagons and break things out for them. Bailey Olsen over to Crone. Crone backhand pass, and not an ill-advised pass as he got it right on the skates. Crone, nice forecheck by Remper, and Olsen will try to regroup and break it out here. Bailey Olsen has it stealen clean by TJ Remper, passes it to himself. He has some speed. Remper throws it on net, follow, and a beautiful goal that time by Kneisel on the Remper steal and sequence. And a certain father with the video camera rolling has got that on.
Well, Keenan picked up the garbage after Remper did all the work. You know, when I worked the booth with Tommy here, that's right. His dad. That's what happens. I do all the work, and you know, and
Tommy just kind of gets the glory, you know. So
right. Well, and we really appreciate all the Remfer family's done, and that goes out to you, Sam. Your brother got you an assist, and maybe he'll add a goal on here as he has the puck behind the Richfield net.
And that was a short-handed goal, too.
Yeah.
So great work by Remfer to really set that up, and Keenan to be in the right spot, and Keenan left no doubt about it.
Boy.
He roughed that puck. So
nice for Keenan.
Oh, there's
Kanizo
power.
also.
First one down. This will be interesting. He's got some speed.
Yep, Kanizo officially gets the goal from TJ Remfer. And 3 minutes remaining on the Oriole penalty to Plender. Spartans behind their own zone, down 8-1 here. We mentioned running time. Rebello with a couple stop-and-go moves. He's so shifty. He's so small and shifty and fast. And here's Neudecker again. These two are just excellent forward checkers on any type of a penalty kill situation because of the vertical and horizontal speed I think they have too. Ilstrup going to fall back to his zone and throw it all the way down. And for Richfield, I think one shot officially in the first 2.5 minutes on the power play. Brandon Clay up the near wall here. Nothing going again as St. Louis Park going to hold it in as Rebello pinch. You don't often see a pinch up from a forward on a penalty kill, but yeah. We should mention too, the last 5 games have been really tough for the Spartans, John, and looking at what's happened, they've been outscored 46-5 going the last 5 games going into tonight. So the Daubers are a little bit down even more than they might have been earlier in the year. Wow, there was a hard contact sequence there. As number 8 Joe Richards made hard contact with Dvorak over there, John.
Yeah, it came up, I was surprised that wasn't called. It came up a little bit high, I think, with the stick and the glove. But Riley's a tough player, rebounds pretty well.
Yeah.
So he jumped right up. He's coming off now, but it was a big hit.
He seems to be okay as he's not favoring anything.
No.
Nice. I hope the game can stay clean, too. Oh, there's a possible penalty, but they're going to wave that off here. It was just maybe some incidental
Here's Nicky
contact.
Owens with some speed.
Owens goes to the backhand. Oh, tried to go short side, goes high with that. Going to get some help there from Micah Anderson as they're working the kill together. Caven and Grant Plender on defense. Here is Grant one-on-one with Bailey Olson. Bailey Olson stops, tries to work it to the middle, but has it knocked off his stick. Saystad into the corner there for Krieger. Krieger back to the point. Saystad. Top of the umbrella is Shellquist.
That was a nice sequence of moves.
It was a nice sequence. They tried to, and Bailey Olson just kind of fanned on that shot there. Here is Bailey again. 23, 1-on-4. Unfortunately, as he tries to just skate it in, it's tough sometimes, and then you lose the puck a lot if you run into traffic like that. Still 30 seconds remaining. Richfield. Oh, beautiful one-time attempt again by Olson. He did get that one clean on net, and Adam Belzer going to take the puck away, but I think we are going to have an Oriole penalty on Casey Plender as one of the Spartans, Brandon Clay, is down.
Yeah, we got the two Plender, both the Plender boys.
Can we get a zoom on that over there? I don't know if cameraman, let's zoom on the penalty box. We've got Casey and Grant Plender going to spend, brothers are spending time together as Casey, he missed his brother a little bit.
Missed his brother, wanted to go to the box. Well, I mean, if you know the Plender family, their mother's very tough, Don. I mean, so, no surprise they're both in the box. Together.
Yeah, I didn't go there. I made no comment about it. So, well, and Casey had made a hit at center ice that I thought momentarily might have been a penalty, and I indicated my opinion on that. Yeah, it was a 5-minute major, and then of course
now Casey comes out, leaves his younger brother in the box.
So they had about 20 seconds to talk about after the game.
They had chatted about how things were going at home at the family and homework done, who's got the garbage taken out. Good time for the boys to bond.
Exactly.
Who's got the chore list?
Still at running time, 9:25 remaining here in the third period. We should mention too, John, we may mention it here on the Orioles work on their penalty kill again here. Orioles are going to take the show on the road the next week and a half. They've got 4 straight road games at Chaska, Chanhassen, Bloomington, Kennedy, and Chanhassen. And Kennedy's been playing some great hockey this year.
Yeah.
That's kind of what, you and I were discussing this earlier. it's one of the reasons that I would hope that Richfield can pull their straps together, do the hard work that's necessary, because it was only a few years ago Kennedy only had one win, and they were kicking the tires around the possibility of co-oping, and now they're on a 10-win season already this year, and that's great for Dave Dillon and the Kennedy Eagles.
Well, it just shows that programs can be rebuilt, and you know, sometimes the easiest thing is to say, well, we'll get together with someone else. The more difficult thing is to go out there and get more players and build a program and get more kids the experience of this great game.
Well, and you know, I felt really, there's a wrist shot and a nice goal as Rebello going to throw the hat trick. We'll see if any of the hats, Tom Remfer moving towards his hat there. I don't know if he's going to throw that down on the ice.
Yeah, he's thinking, there's one.
There's one. So another shorthanded goal. This one by Lexi Rebello. You can see the nice cross ring pass. I believe that was from Remfer. So TJ going to get another assist. And Lexi says, I'll get my third one. As you see, Will Gleason, Keenan Kneisel, Micah Anderson all looking on there. 9-1. Big contact at the red line, and we're going to have And there was two tough sequences, and Riley Dvorak got hit by a freight train, and then John, we should mention too, at number 24, John Crone, really laid the lumber up high to Bauer Neudecker.
They called it a charge, and really that's giving him a break, because it was certainly a hit to it was bringing the gloves up and a hit to the head. You know what you want to see, if he wants to make that hit, he should shoulder to chest versus bringing the arms up and hitting to the head. And that's really what they want to teach the kids. And so, you know, it looks like Bauer went off.
Right, so it's going to be Bauer. It didn't look like he was hobbling, and Riley got off fine, but both of those plays were probably the two toughest plays that the Orioles have received in terms of an aggressive forecheck all night, and you can see the frustration mounting a little bit for the Spartans here. 9-1, 7 minutes to go. Orioles on the power play. Nick Owens going to throw it towards net. He's out there on the point with TJ Remfer. Hopman works it down low to Kneisel. Kneisel just scored earlier, shorthanded. Owens at the top of the umbrella, works it over to Hopman. Hopman, a wrister, hits Olsen. Follow, goes over Crone's stick. And Park still with possession there. Nicely done on the defensive side by Krieger pursuing. And there's a shot that hits something and goes into the corner of the net here for the 10th goal.
Yeah, it looks like Nicky Owens got it from the point, is from what they can tell. And so nice shot by Nicky. He had some nice zip on it. Clock continues to run with about 6 minutes left here in the third. Interesting, I'm sure Bauer, you know, he draws that penalty. He looks to be okay, but it's always interesting when you draw those penalties. You like to be out on at least be out on the power play to get rewarded for being hit that hard.
And you know, I think one of the things too that's hard too, John, and you and I know this, when you get into these games that are real blowouts in the third period, I always really worry about, you know, some kind of an
injury,
or somebody get a cheap shot thrown on one of your 2-3 best players, and that's a lot of times, as you know, your high school coach and college coach, a lot of times you'd sit that first line down in the third period when anytime it got, you know, out of hand. So
yes, no, I agree. You know, you get into a situation, you got running time. You certainly don't want anybody to get injured, no matter who it is. Right. But certainly, sometimes there's a little more animosity from the other team against your top players.
Right. And so and understandably, when you've had such a rough stretch as the Spartans, and you're down again here. Here is Nicky Owens. And Nick Owens going to get another goal, number 9 here, to push it to 11-1. A nice move by Nick. And we had a, you know, Termone had a pretty good second period, and
you can tell now the.
Oh, I'm sorry, David Ford. I didn't even realize David Fords was moved into the net.
He
was 8th grader. I apologize
for the third. I should have corrected you a little earlier. I saw that change after the period. Now the one thing that I'll say, Farmer, is, you know, the Spartans are, you can tell, running low on gas, and probably time for the Orioles to start making a lot of passes in the offensive zone. And making sure everybody touches before they get some shots. Kind of do the, not inflict too much pain at this point, because they probably got close to 60 shots on these on the Spartan goaltenders.
Well, and you know, John, these kind of blow. You know, Park was involved in a few of these on the receiving end over the years. And one of them I was at myself at Braemar several years ago when my son was in net, and we didn't realize he was going to win the state title, I think. But But yeah, I mean, and they just passed the puck around in the third period. Absolutely.
Well, and you bring up the Hornets, and right or wrong, that is a nice pass. They're still we're still in the rebuilding stage, but the Hornets go back on the schedule next year for the Orioles.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a very tough task with still a young team. But I think that it'll be interesting to see how they do. I think it's okay for them to play them next year. I do believe that the year after next they'll be a little more prepared.
Yeah, I think Bauer's senior year, and with the influx of talent from the Bantam AA,
but it'll be nothing wrong with giving your boys an opportunity to play some of the best in the state either.
Well, and even though Park played Edina 2 years in a row, 3 and 4 years ago, and then we had the scrimmage, of course, Sean Podine's first year, which was a lot better. We had a little influx more of talent that particular year, but yeah, I know the kids will get up for it, and that'll be fun for them. So Neudecker is back on the ice, and he's okay. Neudecker and Rebello. Looks like Ulmer was trying to shadow Bauer, but Bauer with speed breaks it in, and he's got space on Brandon Clay there. He goes cross rink to Dvorak with 2:44 remaining. Riley erased by Bailey Olson on a nice clean check. And here is Joe Richards. He has the only Spartan goal one-on-one here. Richards, and a nice glove save by Benny Burke, who, I tell you, that's the one thing that's kind of unsung. He hasn't seen hardly any pucks, and you know how that is when you see 8, 10, 12 shots in a game here.
I tell you, it's very tough. You can kind of get you can get a little, when they say cold, you really do. You're standing back on ice, you're not moving a lot. You want to keep yourself moving, and you can get a little mesmerized. So a nice save by Benny.
And we should mention, too, with all the reliance, obviously, on Connor Clares, is look at Adam Belzer's speed to the puck. No rest in his. Nice drop pass by Belzer. Thrown out to the point where, I think that was Caven who tried to throw it on net. But I was going to say, yeah, it's a situation where, with 150 remaining, I think I'm just going to let the game speak for itself.
Right. For the most part, even though there's been some penalties in the third, pretty clean game.
Right.
When a game gets, a little bit out of hand like this, you give both teams credit. Even some of the penalties that have been penalties, I probably have seen only one. Probably that hit on Bauer that you looked was a deliberate kind of coming up high. The rest of them were trying to make a hit, and it just didn't quite, just wasn't quite a legal hit. Here's a
nice break for the Spartans. 2-on-1 with Krieger. Krieger on the far side, slap shot just wide of the net at the 109 mark. And Park's going to break it out again themselves, and a nice touch as Owens puts a stick on that at the red line as the Orioles change on the fly here. We're under 1 minute here at the Rec Center, St. Louis Park. 11-1 for the Orioles, as we're happy to bring this one to you on Park 16. As I mentioned, Oriole boys basketball team home tomorrow night against Richfield as well, a Spartan matchup. So if you don't have anything going on tomorrow night, take a gander over to the high school. Here's a nice stop and go move by Olson, but unfortunately for Bailey, he's 1-on-4.
And I would join you, Farmer, but the girls play Benil tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right. Yes, tell me. Yeah, and I know you had senior night the other night, so.
Yep, so it should be a good.
You played them good the first time.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It was 1-1 after 1, 2-1 after 2, and then Benil won 4-1, and a heck of a hockey game where the Orioles outshot them 2 of the 3 periods. So we'll see what happens come tomorrow. But we had some great goaltending in that first game by Gleason.
Right.
And we'll just see if the Orioles can bring it and maybe upset the Benel St. Margaret's.
Well, and we should mention, too, this is the last weekend, is it not, of the regular season
it is
for girls
the girls
high school?
Yeah,
and then
they go into the playoffs.
When have they done this?
They haven't done the seeding, okay. So they got to wait till tomorrow. So the Orioles will either play Wednesday or Thursday or Friday next week. They'll probably either draw one of two things. They'll either come in as a seed, having playing Breck, the #1 seed, or they'll come into the play-in game where they'll probably get Minneapolis.
Okay.
So just depending where Totino Grace falls, you would say between Totino, Minneapolis, and St. Louis Park, 2 of those teams will have the play-in game. Gotcha. And the other team will face Breck off the bat, and we'll see how that goes. This is a good win for the Orioles. Even though you're against a lighter team here, Frommer, a win's a win, and I thought they spread the puck well. I thought they played clean.
I thought they moved the puck well, and I thought Benny Burke, you know, we didn't talk enough about him because, you know, certainly the Orioles had it dominated offensively, but a heck of a goaltender, been part of the program for a long time, and I think the interesting thing, Farmer, is his dad was a goaltender
and his
in
brother.
South of St. Paul, and his brother, he played at up in Alaska. Fairbanks, his father. Now you got both him and his brother are you know, I don't know that, you know, we had one goalie in my family, that was enough. But having the whole family of goaltenders, I mean, that's very interesting. So.
And you know what? I have such a warm spot in my heart for him for 3 years ago when he was a freshman, as the only freshman on the JV, and you know, he really practiced, as you know, all the time.
Absolutely.
And he finally got in a game or two late in the season. And you, as helping out as a goalie coach, you know what kind of how that is when all you can do is practice. You really want to see those kids rewarded with effort. And we should mention as well, that's why I was so happy to see Adam Belzer, along with Nick Caven, along with Casey Plender, all getting a lot of ice today. Grant Plender, I'm sorry.
Yep. And it was nice to see everybody get some ice out there. And I thought the boys played well, kept things, really shared the puck, kept their composure throughout the game. Good job by the coaches getting them ready. You know, you got to play the game. So, and that brings the Orioles up to 6 wins this year, and which is wonderful to see.
Well, and before we head away, I want to make sure we special shout out to Mark Unzi and some of the people watching, as well as Samantha Rempfer. We're really happy we could bring this one to you live, and I know Paul Broden, our director, was really happy that we had replay capabilities tonight. It really helps us out tremendously as broadcasters, too, when we can analyze and see what's happened and the subtleties of the game. So want to make sure we thank our crack crew. We got Casey and Ben on the other doing a nice Kurt and Ben doing a nice job on the HD cameras. And
I've never missed Kurt. I've always got Kurt dialed in.
I called him Casey.
You know, I've always got him dialed in on that. You know.
If you do want to get a copy of the game again, ParkTV.org, ParkTV.org. You know, and also the YouTube page is just filled with events that Paul has put on there. St. Louis Park City YouTube page, and we never even talked about the rankings in Class A or AA, but Lakeville North continues their undefeated ride in Class AA, and Hermantown, I don't know if we saw this for Class A, came down and beat White Bear Lake last week. So good win for the smaller school, Hermantown, coming down to beat the mighty White Bear Lake. So.
I'll say this, even though Lakeville North is very dominant right now, I don't think...
rematch with Edina.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't know if you want to go into the playoffs undefeated. I mean, you somehow want to get that out of your system.
Right.
Somewhere along the year, you're going to have a bad game.
Right.
And you don't want it to be in the sections, regions, or the state tournament.
Well, so. I got to say this. I've seen Edina play twice this year, and I've seen Lakeville North play once. I didn't see that's Edina's only loss, as fans may or may not know, was only lost 3-1. But I'll tell you what, I watched Edina against Hopkins a week and a half ago, and it was literally like, it was like men amongst boys, and I'm not kidding, even the third and fourth line. And so I do not want to be anybody to try to deny the Hornets another state championship. But maybe Lakeville North, maybe this is their year. But I think you're right. I think Giles is happy that he can tell his kids, hey, let's get him again. Let's get to the state and give him some payback.
You know, when you're going against an undefeated team, people tend to pick it up a notch and say, we're going to be the ones that knock them out. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But if Lakeville goes into the playoffs undefeated, I'd surprise me if they'd get the perfect season. I think they'd be better off taking a lump before they get into the playoffs. We'll see if that holds true or not.
Absolutely.
But time will tell. So it's always fun come state tournament time in early March. I do a little state tournament pool with the old St. Louis Park, the Treat Hearts. And,
I want to get in on that.
I
don't know if I can afford the $500 entrance.
I think it's $5, and it's more for bragging rights. But it's a lot of fun doing the pool every year, and hopefully they're not tuning into my theory that if Lakeville North goes undefeated, they won't win at all. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we should mention too, since I've covered 2 Benilde boys games this year. They've really made a surge recently. I had them against St. Thomas Academy 2 weeks ago here, and I thought St. Thomas Academy, I've seen them as well, and I thought, wow, lights out. And then the very next week, Benilde handed them their first loss on the road. So it looks like Paulie's got his boys playing hard, and I'm sure Paul will try to cover a game if Benilde gets to the section finals or something. So
absolutely.
Okay. Well, we make sure to join us tomorrow night for boys basketball. But on behalf of John Basil, this is John Fromm. Thanks for joining us here on Park 16, and have a great Thursday night.